So, Ant, what were you saying about Mario not knowing how to climb stairs?
Yes. So we were just talking about manipulation for speedrunning and stuff, and it reminded me of this crazy. So I don't know how much you guys follow Super Mario 64 with its speedrunning, not just the backward long jump stuff. There was a thing, I forget how many years ago it was, where someone was streaming the game and then got like this weird warp in TikTok clock where they were going on the platforms that go up and down that have the red coins, and then suddenly like warped up to the top of the stage, and it just happened randomly.
You know, I actually like. I'm not a fan of watching like glitch exploit speedruns in general, but there's something about Super Mario 64 in particular that's kind of
because it's just crazy.
It's crazy because it's a very early 3D adventure
nuts.
platform programming, and it just doesn't work the same way that most other 3D games do under the hood.
So if you look up specifically, like the TikTok clock, I think they call it a wrong warp or something. Initially there was like $1,000 bounty for people to figure out just what the hell happened. And there was a video that dropped, a scientific video, like late last year. And I swear to God, apparently what happened is like a cosmic ray like hit the controller or the console or the cartridge or just the earth in some weirdly specific way that caused that glitch to happen. It could be misinterpreting the video that I watched, but I swear to God,
like bullshit for an easy $1,000.
I swear to no, like there's a video here. It's called "The Universe is Hostile to Computers." It's a video about cosmic rays. It has 13 million views, and there's just a segment about that clip about how a cosmic ray affected the glitch because no one else can replicate it.
Okay, so is this going to be like there's a Dragon Quest 3 speedrun in Japan where they will put their Famicom on a hot plate to heat up it's either the Famicom or the actual cartridge so that they can warp to the end of the game. Are they gonna put their N64 like in space so it'll get hit by cosmic rays to skip?
Apparently, there is a science to where heat or sunlight or something can hit the chips in a unique way that could sometimes manipulate games.
That is true.
And
isn't that cheating though? That's third party.
It's technically tool assist.
The fastest Paper Mario speedrun starts with you opening up Ocarina of Time. In Ocarina of Time, you can break with a ham sandwich and a can of Kool-Aid.
That was one of the greatest speedruns I've ever watched.
So you glitch Ocarina of Time somehow, you swap the cartridge, and then it wrong warps you from the prologue straight to the end of Paper Mario.
Dude,
that was great because I was at GDQ. It said this is a Paper Mario run, and I'm just watching Ocarina of Time.
Like cross-program memory manipulation exploits have continued to be a thing all the way up until the Wii.
Wait, how did they do it for disc-based games then?
How did they do it for disc?
Because the systems load the stuff into their RAM to play the game.
Yeah,
and if you just change it fast enough, without turning the system off, depending on if it has a home menu and stuff, the game won't remove it from the cache. It'll just keep it there.
It would so let's say you start off with Ratchet and Clank, and then you switch the disc from Ratchet and Clank to Jak and Daxter. Jak and Daxter would start playing. Then?
Now, I've never actually heard of anything like that on the PS2 in particular.
I've heard of instances where it'll just it'll play music.
I know that if you keep the CD cover up, some games will still run, and then certain glitches will happen then.
You could Final Fantasy VIII cheat exploit was Selfie Tilmet. Her limit break is the slot machine, right? So while the ATB is still going, you can cycle through her slot results and she'll get random spells, and there are 4 special attacks that can sometimes get mixed in with them. One of them is called the End, and it basically just wins the battle immediately, even against everything except the final boss.
It works against everything. It works against everything.
Everything except Ultimisia. It doesn't work on Ultimisia. Why Ultimisia is the only thing that's immune, I don't know. But it definitely works on a mega weapon. So this is how you do it. You get her down to low health so that she can use her limit break, and then you open the disc cover, and the next thing that gets a turn will freeze the battle in place while they're trying to load whatever they're doing. And then you just cycle through her limit break, and if the end doesn't appear, just reset her menu and use the limit break again, and she'll get a completely new set of spells and abilities. Keep doing that until the end happens. Select the end, close the disc case, and you won.
It's kind of like the regen exploit of 7 as well, where if you open the disc tray in the middle of a battle while regen was going, your HP would still recover.
Oh yes, yeah, that was a really simple way to abuse that. Of course, like a more like impatient gamer might just use the disc tray to skip over the FMVs in a Final Fantasy game.
I mean, that's how you were getting Excalibur 2.
There's a PS2 version of Dragon Quest V, which is really interesting as a Western player because we don't have that version. But the game's overworld will run with the disc cover open, and so basically people will just walk in the void on the overworld where it's not loaded, and it doesn't load any of the mountains or whatever that wouldn't let you pass. And you just like walk into the final dungeon. Wait, no, that's not strictly true. They walk into a debug room, set their level to 99, and then walk into the final dungeon.
God.
I find video game glitches just amusing. I'm sure we have all at this point seen. But first, we have to talk about parallel universes.
I don't think you can call it a glitch if it's something that you're intentionally provoking the system to do by opening the disc tray or something. You know,
I'd say it counts. It's on the edge, though.
That's more of a hack than a glitch. Because
I would say it's like the level before weird stuff that happens once you put a Game Shark in.
Yeah, but when you put a Game Shark in, you're like literally hacking the
you're
game,
literally, you are changing the code.
Yeah, a glitch is something you do within the confines of the game itself.
I mean, I think
using
open
something
disc tray
outside,
stuff
I would agree with
classify
Lewis.
because you're not manipulating the code.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's the same level to me as like the pause trick in Mega Man 1 or something.
Yeah, like
it's certainly not intended, but
a glitch really just boils down to like an unintended.
Well, the pause trick happens like regardless while the game is running on hardware as the hardware is intended to be functioning. When you open up a disc tray or swap out cartridges or whatever, you are intentionally fucking with the hardware and introducing variables that should not exist in the programming as it is.
Yeah, that's why I would agree and say that's more of a hack than a glitch. Like you can instigate glitches doing that, but that in itself, opening a disc tray is not a glitch.
I mean, they can't program the game to account for the hardware not working because you intentionally stopped it from working.
So I mean, just because it's intentional, but I would put that in the same field as like some cartridge games. If you tilt the cartridge the wrong way, it can cause graphical issues and stuff.
Get down in
I would put that in the same category, and I would consider that a glitch.
And that would be when like some of the contacts aren't in properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny most of the time. Just like trivia, like how you can play Animal Crossing on the GameCube for like an hour with the disc cover open because the game doesn't need to read anything from the disc at all.
Yeah.
For that long.
The entire game is put inside the RAM of the GameCube. Yeah. That's why, because Animal Crossing itself is really small. Because it's N64.
Well, I mean, it's just it's impressive that though because there's so much text in Animal Crossing. Like that's why I think New Leaf took like a year and a half to come out in the West, and that's because they had.
But text generation it just reads from the like very small bits though.
Yeah,
as I say, text in and of itself does not take up a lot of space.
Well, not anymore. On the SNES it did, but
well, it's not so much that the text took up a lot of space; it's that the text that was in the game took up a specific a specific amount of space in specific places. So actually changing the text is a complicated process.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's why most of the games were like, we're not even going to bother messing with it. Here are the amount of characters for this text box. You have to say whatever it is you want to say within that amount of text characters.
I mean, you can do ROM hacks that change that stuff up and add additional space for text, but you have to expand the ROM size to do that.
Which, from what I understand, is
it's not the easiest thing to do, and sometimes it breaks things. Like the Shining Force games just plain can't save if you do that.
That's so weird that like adding more text space means you can't save. It
messes with
because you still have to work within the confines and limitations of the console it was developed.
That makes sense. It seems so random to a human, even if it would make sense for a computer. It's like these things aren't related at all. Why do they matter? Why does that matter? But
that's why like decompiled versions of games are such a big deal because you no longer have those limitations.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're not, by decompiled, we mean like how it ran on Nintendo's or
They
whatever's
now
computer
run-
before they
yeah.
put it into a cartridge, right?
Well, and now it's just a PC version of the
Yeah,
game.
like I'm sure.
Which means
obviously,
you are
I'm
free
assuming
to
we're
do
talking
whatever
about
the
like
hell
Mario
you want with
64.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
And now there's Ocarina of Time,
one.
and apparently there's like a
Yeah.
dozen N64 games being decompiled.
Is this using stuff that
no.
they got from that like Nintendo
The Giga Leak, yeah.
The Giga Leak, yeah.
Yeah.
But Majora's Mask is getting the same thing, and
The Majora's Mask desperately needs it.
Sign me up.
I think Banjo-Kazooie is getting one. I think Pokemon Snap, maybe? Like, there's a Bomberman 64, I think, is in there, too. Like, there's a handful.
Bomberman 64 will be so good decompressed.
Yeah, and, like, as someone who follows ROM hacks a bunch, there is a lot more you can do when you have access to all the files and no restrictions.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably really good for like making fan games, I would assume, because you're not, you're suddenly way less restricted. Although that,
Well, I mean, it's not sometimes about making fan games. It's just like making the best possible version of the best game that makes it timeless.
I mean, you can currently play Ocarina of Time 64 technically with gyro controls and in widescreen on PC.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but you can also play it on Nintendo Switch.
I find
that is an option.
I find fan mod development to be an interesting exercise in game analysis because, like, when someone creates a rebalanced version of a game, like, say, Final Fantasy VII, whatever version we're on for
the New Threat,
or Final Fantasy VI Brave New World, or what was it, T Edition. That kind of stuff, like, you're basically evaluating the game as it stands and trying to think of ways to make it better than it was. And that's interesting because it means you have to, like, really analyze where the game fell short and where the game was at its strongest, you know?
Yeah. Which is not easy. That's a slippery slope.
I mean, in some cases, it makes the game play the way you remember. Like, the biggest example I can think of is Rayman Redemption. I remember that game being fun when I played it on GBA. I went back to it. It is not that fun played on GBA. It's arguably not that fun played on PS1. But Rayman Redemption was like, I actually felt like I was playing Rayman 1 the way I remembered playing it as a kid, and it was really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, and not all people who do, like, those kinds of rebalance or reimagining hacks and mods do them well. There are some truly why did you bother ones that I've seen, like, there's a mod of Shining Force 2 called New Story, and all it does is, like, shuffle some characters around. So Odd Eye gets to be Bowie now, but all the dialogue is the same, so it's not really a new story at all. Why did you call it that? I'm just like,
yeah, that's what I mean by slippery slope, especially with, like, RPG mods, where it's not just a matter of rebalancing gameplay mechanics or retooling certain things. It's when they change story beats or characterization of certain characters.
Well, anytime you make changes to the game, you compromise the original vision. That's just a fact. Like, it is no longer the same game anymore. If you even make, like, a tiny edit, it is no longer.
I like the idea of messing with the story of a game, but, you know, there is a point at which you need to, like, be self-aware enough not to stick your own head up your ass about it. Like, New Threat is pretty good about that. They actually went to the trouble of including 2 separate modes, one with a remix story and one that's very close to the original story, but also with rebalances, you know? So, like, you can play a game that's very close to the Final Fantasy VII you know, or you can play the version of Final Fantasy VII that is intentionally all jumbled up and with stuff in different places and characters acting in ways you didn't know before, and that's interesting. It's not just an exercise in thinking the game. It's also an exercise in what else can we do with this game and these characters, you know? And that
also good for, like, opening up a conversation. just for talking about a character or developer's take on a character without it being
I should
overly
mention
cringe.
that I'm talking about the current version of New Threat and not the meme-tastic original version with a fucking Safer Sephiroth Kate Sith boss and Aerith
Wait,
just
what?
being resurrected with a phoenix down.
I remember that.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, so New Threat 1.5, I think, is basically memes of the game, and it has like all kinds of wacky stuff, like Monster Kate Sith boss, and you fight Zack for Omni Slash in some weird fourth wall breaking flashback, and you can just resurrect Aerith right after she dies with a Phoenix Down, because why didn't they use a Phoenix Down for her? But New Threat 2.0 is like the serious take on the same concept, so like, yeah, they toy with the idea of bringing Aerith back, but they come up with like an interesting gameplay lore reason for that to happen. You know?
Oh, so they buy the Final Fantasy Remake 2 DLC pack.
No,
where you
they
can bring
actually.
Aerith back.
I don't want to spoil it, but they do something cool with the boss fight that happens after she dies, that can result in her either staying dead or coming back, depending on the
Well,
player.
we were planning on doing New Threat at some point or another.
Yeah, but I think the thing was we had just done. This was like 2 years ago.
No, that's why I say at some
Yeah,
point. Like, obviously, like
at some
not
point.
now or anytime soon, but I think like mods like that, I think are warrant a commentary just to talk about like what we think about the changes or.
Well, some mods just
Or
are
just, like,
like,
bring
a
up
better
discussion.
way to play the game. Like if we ever do Rayman 1, where
Yes.
I'm certainly not going to be recording a Rayman PS1 or Rayman GBA or Rayman DSi. There's so many versions of Rayman 1. Ubisoft just
there
likes
is.
porting things, I guess. I'm honestly, with all the ports Rayman 2's had, I'm surprised there's not more fan stuff for that game too.
Rayman 2's already perfect. There's no need to modify it.
Rayman 2 has the unfortunate issue of having its like actually good version like only on certain consoles.
People argue about what version of Rayman 2 is the best one. Like the
Well,
It's the
PS2,
Dreamcast one.
Dreamcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say here.
There
Just
are-
It's Dreamcast.
Yeah, but there are also like
Why do they have different voice acting?
But there are also specific versions that are just definitively inferior. Like the PlayStation 1 version is missing half its content, you know? For some
Yeah, it's.
reason.
I mean, I just researched all this. I did a video in January. It's a very strange scenario that Ubisoft never knew what they were doing with that character.
Ubisoft's just not a very well-run company in general.
No.
That
What a
just,
surprise.
Like every 1 in 5 games, they stumble into making a good one somehow. Is just generally how that works out. Now, just question: the N64 version of Rayman 2. That's the one with the hideous green cartridge, right?
Hideous.
Yeah.
Excuse me. With the beautiful green cartridge. Yeah.
Okay, sure. We can go with that. The only real difference is the graphics and the lack of voice acting, right? Between that and the Dreamcast one.
The Dreamcast one also doesn't have voice acting. And there's a few other minor differences, but in general, those are the most similar.
Also the ones with voice acting have different voice actors for their
The
versions.
PS1 and the PS2 both have English, but both have different English.
The PS2 version has like a hub world that you can walk around in.
Yep.
Every other version has
Has
like
a few other
menu
mini-games.
hub.
PS1 version says color without the U. PS2 version says color with the U. All right, we need 2 different recordings for this. I'm confused.
It's a pain, honestly, that Rayman 2 presents such a barrier to figuring out which version to play, because like once you have decided on a good version of Rayman 2 to play, it's a genuinely great game.
Yep.
Like shit like that keeps me up at night, and why it takes longer for me to like get ready for a recording for a review, because ideally I want to play what's considered like the best version of the game if I can get it.
Yeah, it's
But-
just in Rayman scenario, because I was researching all of it, there's like 8 different versions of that game. There is a PC version
Good
that is
lord.
readily available that Ubisoft still sells. and that's not the best version of the game.
Like, I'm just imagining you like actually being kept up at night. It's just like you're in bed, and then Nora's like, "I bet he's thinking about other women." And then John's thought bubble is, "Why are there 8 versions of Rayman 2 that all are just very slightly different?"
Man, it's like seriously, it's like you think they'd stop at 1 or 2? At least it's in the title.
I mean, listen, we've talked about Sonic enough. There's enough versions of Sonic 1 and 2 to put and write entire Bibles on.
It's more though. They're just ports though for the most part. Like there's Sonic 1 and all its re-releases, and there's the Taxman version.
There's the Sonic Jam version that was recompiled. There's the iPhone version before the Taxman version.
I'm not surprised that the PC version of Rayman 2 wouldn't be a particularly good version, though, because just PC porting in general during those 2 generations tended to result in universally inferior versions.
Dude, it's a nightmare because you can get it through Good Old Galaxy, I think is how you say it.
Yes.
I don't know, GOG. And that is, I didn't realize when you don't put games on Steam, it's just however they get a game to open up a window is they'll put it up for sale. It's a nightmare to get those games to run. Like the resolution's all whacked out. Getting a controller to work is insane.
It's probably like a Windows 98 file trying to run on Windows 10.
What GOG,
basically
what
is.
GOG generally does is they get the games to a place where they will run on a modern system when they wouldn't before, but otherwise they don't generally screw with things. And if it's a DOS game, they run it on DOSBox because there's no reason to do anything else. DOSBox will always work. So anything DOS era works perfectly. Anything Windows 95 or 96 era, you have to check before you buy whether it supports the current operating system you're using, because if it doesn't say Windows 10, it's not going to work on Windows 10.
Yep. Nightmare inducing.
Yeah.
Being a PC gamer in the 90s must have sucked.
Oh, yes. That was when like all the video cards and stuff were in flux.
That's also probably why the most successful PC games of the time are like StarCraft, Age of Empires, The Sims, all stuff that like can run on a toaster.
Well, also stuff that was like supported actively after development too.
I mean that's true, yeah. But like when I'm thinking of the PC games that everybody had growing up, it's a lot of simulation stuff.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I love Roller Coaster Tycoon, dude. We need to do a Roller Coaster Tycoon commentary where I start off with a theme park already built, and then we make 4 different theme goers named after all of us, and we see which one survives my death.
Which one dies first, like a
So
battle royale.
So Park Goer A likes to ride the Octagon.
Man,
This isn't actually Roller Coaster Tycoon.
You know,
this is Animal Kingdom.
That would be the most
It's Disney World.
that would be the most unrealistic interpretation of me as a character, because like the moment a fictional me steps foot in a theme park, they're already out of character.
Well, that's why it's fictional.
Well, now I just have the terrible idea of us doing that, and then 5 minutes in, it just cuts to us at Disney World, and we're just like visiting Nathan or something.
Listen, so Lewis, you would be the vlogger personality, right? Where you'll only wait 5 minutes in any line and then go and do something else?
No, I'd be exactly the way I am at the conventions that we already go to. I just hang out in the hotel room playing PlayStation.
I want nothing to do with anything.
Lewis,
I'll
you
hang in the
spent
VIP.
$500 for a ticket and you're going to go back to the hotel room?
I didn't go there for the convention. I went there for
You're the kind of
merch
guy
floor.
that books a trip. You're the kind of guy that books a trip to Japan and eats at the
I went there
McDonald's.
for the merch floor, okay? That takes 10 minutes.
Okay, so John, I think I've probably told this story because we've been doing this channel for 10 years, but whatever. The only time I've been out of the country, it's twice, both to Canada. The first one I went to Quebec.
That doesn't count.
And this was for a high school trip. My best friend at the time is allergic to like everything. Like can't have milk, can't have nuts, can't have different kinds of all sorts of stuff. And all of the food that we wanted to go and get would have killed him. So when we were in the city for the day, we went and we ate at the McDonald's. And here's the really sad part. I was very proud of myself because I ordered my burger completely in French. Like I got it completely right. Like I did the money. I was like, merci beaucoup. Je ne remember pas beaucoup de
Happy Meal.
français. But anyway, I got everything right, but then I get my burger on it. I realize, oh shit, I forgot to ask for no ketchup. I don't know how to ask them to get me one without ketchup. And then I have to ask them in English, hey, I'm sorry, can you get me one without ketchup? And it was just the most defeat I've ever felt in my entire life. Like that.
Canada wins again, damn it.
King Dedede falling into lava with Kirby on his back.
Yeah, so it's just, that's the most ashamed I've ever felt in my entire life.
I just had Crash to Insanity flashbacks from that moment.
That's what this game should have
Crash
been.
to Insanity?
Just Crash to Insanity. Just fucking like DDD swing Kirby around. Different makeshift weapons.
Kirby's just sliding on King DDD. They go through the weird cabin in the snowfield, and the DDD goes, "Escargoon."
There's a weird idle animation where DDD's spanking Kirby. It's strange. Just strange all around.
I don't like this anymore.
I would go for more games where DDD is playable, honestly. Like, because DDD, I know that they've just traditionally just had him kind of be Hammer, but slightly larger hitbox. But, like, if they were to do some sort of team-up stuff like Crash to Insanity, I think that could be a fun
Especially if it's this
Look, that
cuter
was a
DDD
Crash
and not
to Insanity
the
move right
cursed
there.
abomination of Star Allies.
One partner chucks the other.
Oh yeah, you'll also notice I've been doing this the whole game. But if I ever like didn't bring the right power, I just like left the level and then brought the power I need with me.
Oh, so you're cheating. It's not the
Yeah,
true
I
Kirby
cartridge
64
tilted and it
experience.
gave me
Jump cutting.
double life.
That's tool assisted.
Yeah. That was mostly just to save time for editing purposes.
Saving the frames.
Saving the animals. Listen, if you don't save the animals, then
gonna do a
Metroid
trick here. It's
Fusion
called-
doesn't happen. So,
All right, I'm gonna trim this clip here. It takes about 7 minutes.
listen, I'm just gonna next time we do a Kirby game, all right, it's just gonna be one part and it's just the credits. I saved the whole playthrough in game time.
That's true.
Okay.
Are you happy? Are you proud
That's
of
the
me,
power
Dad?
of video editing. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can do anything.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
In that order.
For no apparent reason, that video is the one video on our channel that breaks 3 million views.
Listen, what I'm gonna tell you, Kirby and the Forgotten Land has a good credits theme.
Every Kirby game has a good credits theme. You just do more Kirby content.
I mean, I'm
That's
recording Forgotten Land right now. Like as of this,
No, I'm not like
Yeah,
all
'cause
of it.
it's
Like,
like-
when's the
'cause
Kirby block ball discussion?
We as a channel have exhausted our Sonic support
For now.
and that's why the channel
that's
stagnated.
not true. We still have not done Sonic Advance, and that's like an actually
could-
good game.
You could
true,
also
yeah.
just do Sonic 06 again.
No,
No,
It actually has
not?
been long enough that would be doable. Oh god.
You gotta do Sonic
But, you
Unleashed
know,
now because it runs at 60
I don't
FPS.
If we were to ever
don't wanna
do
talk about
Sonic
06.
06 again, though, I would want it to be Project 06.
is that done?
I will agree. No, it's good. It's a long way through. Like it's not gonna be done for a
They've
long
been working
time,
on that
but
for like forever.
I will-
haven't they?
yeah, but it's also just one
that
dude.
guy.
Like
That's fair.
along with like
It's also a complete from the ground up rebuild.
reboot. Yeah. So it's like on the merits of that, I'll agree. Like if we ever to go back to 06, I would like it to be that game too. Like I'm fine with that. But like base 06, nah, man, that dead horse doesn't need
Yeah.
more fucking. I mean, beat it.
Whereas Project 06 actually like Project 06 actually has like more than just the potential to be a good game, you know.
Did
Like,
they fix the
it's-
load times?
Well, yeah.
Yep.
But
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's also
that's
it's
the first
also
thing they
just
changed.
like a legitimately fun feeling game to play.
Yeah, but like it is just better in just about every
Yeah.
sense of the word. I mean, obviously you can't fix the story, but like the game
I
itself.
mean, you
is,
could,
from what I've
but you'd have
played,
to hire
it's
voice
fundamental.
actors and redo every cutscene. I don't know if that's in the scope of the product.
Is it Sonic 06 though? At that point, it's like it's
This
like
is what I was talking about earlier. It's not Sonic 06 the moment you change one thing. It's a different game now.
yeah. What's the philosophy? What is
Ship of
it?
Theseus or something.
Yeah, the ship of Theseus, the ship of Sonic 06.
Project 06 is kind of like the epitome of what I was talking about in that like it's an exercise in trying to figure out what parts of Sonic 06 actually could have worked if the game had been finished. what parts were good, what parts were bad, what parts could be good if they were polished more. And so far, the answer seems to be they basically just fixed all the stuff that was broken or stilted about Sonic and Shadow, and they reworked Silver entirely so that he's actually fun.
So just make Silver Psycho
Yeah,
nuts.
pretty much.
That's literally all you have to do.
Have you ever played Control, John?
No, I know what you're talking about. Though.
Control is Silver the Hedgehog, but good.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is quite the review on the back of the box. Oh my god. I've never played Control, but man, I'm just imagining, Control. It's like Silver the Hedgehog.
I'm doing a bad disservice of it. It is legitimately like a very, very good game.
Yes, it is.
Like I went out of my way to buy a brand new game for PS4 because I was interested in Control. And if you know me, I don't do that very often. If I'm buying anything on my PS4, it's used for like $5. But no, Control is excellent. I really recommend playing it. The video's been over for forever now. I'm gonna stop rambling.